Hi guys, it's me. It's Monday and I'm in my kitchen in Diggs, and Into the Woods press week is finally over. So we've had 2 days off. It's the first time we've had 2 days off, one after the other, since the beginning of rehearsals in October. So it's been great, and yesterday I spent all day in bed and I watched The Theory of Everything. I've been meaning to watch this film for a gazillion years. FYI, I just googled the word gazillion and apparently it means a very large number or quantity, which is interesting because I just thought it was a made-up word. So there you go. But I've never had the time to watch it, but yesterday I did, so I just wanted to tell you what I thought of it. So here are my thoughts on the film, and it probably goes without saying, but spoiler alert, just in case you're planning on watching it and don't want to know what happens. So, just as a bit of background, the film The Theory of Everything is based on the memoir Travelling Through Infinity, My Life with Stephen, written by Stephen Hawking's first wife, Jane Hawking, née Wilde. The film starts in the 60s with them meeting at Cambridge University, and it tells the story of their relationship, his increasing fame and his work, and also his diagnosis and increasing severity of his motor neuron disease. So one of the criticisms that I heard of The Theory of Everything before watching it was how the film has made the life of Stephen Hawking into a love story between him and Jane. And after watching the film, I have to say that I kind of disagree with that as a criticism. I mean, it is true that the script centres around a relationship between Stephen and Jane. That's the primary relationship we see, and it is true that the intricacies of Hawking's work and the theorems he develops throughout his life is kind of glossed over, not denying that. But for me, when I think of a love story, in inverted commas, I imagine the whole boy meets girl. Usually the girl needs saving, they overcome impossible odds, live happily ever after. You assume you just get to the bit where they can finally be together and that's all you see. And this film is kind of exactly the opposite, in my opinion. So, there are 3 reasons why I disagree with that. Firstly, even though Stephen and Jane obviously do have impossible odds, I don't feel in the movie that they overcome them. They just deal with them and cope as best they can, like any normal person would. And Jane doesn't strike me as a victim in the movie, and I'd argue that Stephen isn't really a victim either. Neither of them needs saving, neither of them are damsels in any way, and with love stories, inverted commas, you do tend to see that kind of one person not being whole without the other person, and I just didn't get that vibe from the film, which was nice. Secondly, in terms of female characters, even though I don't think this film would pass the Bechdel test, I haven't done the Bechdel test on this film, but I just don't think it would pass because of the ratio of male to female characters. But I think the female characters that are in the film are really well-rounded and deep and complex characters. Obviously, the main female character that we see in the film is Jane, and I never felt that she was defined solely by her relationship with Stephen. Even though she is Stephen's carer for the majority of the film, she comes across as a deep, complex woman in her own right, not the kind of 2D romantic love interest that you would expect to find in love stories or romantic films, which I think is a credit to the writing, direction and acting combined, really, because I feel like that would be a really easy trap to fall into with that role. And thirdly, they don't end up living happily ever after together forever. They, spoiler alert, they end up separating. And when I was watching it, I felt that if this were like a stereotypical love story kind of moment, either one or the other would be blamed. Either Jane would be blamed for the separation or Stephen would be blamed for the separation, or the 2 people that they end up with. So Stephen ends up with his nurse Elaine and Jane ends up with a widower called Jonathan. Either of them would be stereotyped as the homewrecker, and that didn't happen either. It was just really real, and it just explored how relationships change and feelings change, and that's okay. You're allowed to have your feelings change, and it's not anyone's fault. Things just happen and people evolve and grow. There aren't any victims, there aren't any villains. It's just people dealing with a very difficult situation. And I think that makes it a story that's more interesting to see, more interesting to watch, and also healthier to aspire to. If aspire is the right word. I'm not sure aspire is the right word, but you know what I mean. You don't get easily to find happily ever afters in life. You get something like this film, which is based on real life, which is why it's like that. As well as that, other things I liked about the film, I mentioned it briefly already, but the acting is superb all around. Obviously, Eddie Redmayne got the Oscar for Best Actor, but Felicity Jones is brilliant as Jane Wilde. The rest of the cast is brilliant as all of their characters. It's a really well acted film. I also love the score and the cinematography. I thought was really interesting without distracting too much. It looked beautiful in the way it was edited and put together. It was just really lush. I also liked the way that it was uplifting without being cheesy. The whole film kind of felt really real and genuine. I felt like I cared about the characters, I shared in their joys, I cried with them, and I was able to find hope in their stories. There were a lot of different feels, and I felt all of the feels, and it was nice. Also, off topic for the actory people, but if you need to learn an RP accent and you do not have access to the Harry Potter audiobooks as narrated by Stephen Fry, I recommend watching this film because there are lots of RP accents, male and female, and so it's really useful for that as well. For all the actors out there who were watching this video, there's probably none of you, but if you are interested, this is a really good film to watch for RP accents if you need one. So yeah, that's kind of what I thought of the film. I really liked it. It was a good story. Felt all the feels. It was good. Good acting. I hope you liked this video. I don't know why I looked up. Just wanted to look up. Yeah, I hope you liked this video. If you did like it, then please subscribe and like it. People who watch these regularly, I guess there might be some people who watch regularly. I'm averaging around 10 views per video roughly. So if you do watch regularly or you would like to watch regularly, let me know what you'd like me to talk about because I run out of ideas quickly. So yeah, if there's anything particular you think might be interesting, let me know. And I shall see you all very soon. Take care. Bye! Which is the first time we've had 2 days off in a row since the time. Wait, I just leave a gap so I can edit it quickly. I don't know what that was. I said, the life is, that sounded slightly sexual and it wasn't meant to be. I'm definitely editing this out. This is just, no, this is not going anywhere. I'm deleting this. I mean, I didn't feel like she was defined by her. Oh, you piece of poo. I was on a roll, man. Come on. I can do that. I can say that. It's fine. I imagine, guys. I don't think. I imagine. Because that's an interesting word, and we like interesting words. I'm quite surprised I can get some vibrato today because I have not warmed up and I haven't drunk nearly enough water.